okay. We're just cooking dinner in a slightly dirty kitchen. That's fine. That's real life. Hi. So I have always loved cooking. I've always loved baking, and I've always loved collecting cookbooks. And I realized I got married almost 2 years ago, and we moved about a year ago, and I realized that when we moved, we unloaded all of our books, and in the new place, I didn't really have any space for my cookbooks, and they have been sitting in a box for the past year, and I thought, that's really sad. So I have been looking for a way to just do creative things. I love to create in so many different areas of my life. But in particularly, I love cooking. And I love cookbooks because, of course, they're food, but also they have some of the most beautiful photography in them. And so I decided what better way to cook for my husband and I to do something creative, like make a video, and enjoy all the cookbooks that I love, than to just make a series on YouTube about it. So here we are. We're gonna create dinner tonight from a cookbook. I don't really have much of a plan as a whole. I just want to pick cookbooks and make good food and see how it comes out. So come along with me. So the first cookbook we have up in this series is by someone that I used to follow. I mean, I still follow her, but I used to read her blogs religiously. Like every single day I'd get to work, and I would, like, in the process of getting my day started, I would open up her blog and just see what she was baking. And I loved her writing. And so I think I have 3 of her cookbooks. I think she might have a couple more than that. This isn't even her first one, but it is one of the most beautiful covers I've ever seen. And so it is by Jessica Merchant. Her blog is called How Sweet Eats. And this is the book. This is a beautiful book. I just love it so much. And she has such a wonderful sense of humor, and all of her food just looks so amazing. And so tonight for dinner, we are going to be creating out of The Pretty Dish by Jessica Merchant. Now, this has more than 150 everyday recipes, and this is the thing I loved about her too. 50 beauty DIYs to nourish your body inside and out. I love it. At the end of this book, she has, one of the things she used to do in her blog is to do like a monthly beauty roundup type thing where she would show all the things that she's loving beauty-wise. And I love makeup, I love skincare, I love hair care. So I always loved that portion of it. But she has just some amazing things in this book. Like, look at this strawberry almond mascarpone tart. It's just beautiful. So I took a look through this and was like, what would my husband and I like to eat tonight? I found this one. It is the roasted corn and white chicken chili. And it sounds right up our alley. So the first thing we're going to do is cut up all of our veggies, everything we're going to need for it. So that when we're ready, we can just throw it all together and everything will be good. Let's measure out some spices first in a little container that we have right here. So first we're going with some ground cumin. We need 1.5 teaspoons of ground cumin. Smoked paprika, which I think we're out of the other one. This is 1/2 teaspoon of smoked paprika. Ooh. That may be a little much, that's okay. And we need 1/2 teaspoon of the old salt. This is kind of weird because I never measure out ingredients for food. I just kind of sprinkle till my heart is happy. And 1/2 teaspoon of ground black pepper, which I'm not going to measure. We have this very loud pepper grinder. Yeah, and I think that is it for all of our spices. Onion. We get to cut an onion. Yay! I don't have quite the size kitchen that will give me the opportunity to show both me and what I'm doing. So you're just gonna see what I'm doing. Hopefully that is okay. We are going to just chop off the top of this and peel off the outer skins. Which, okay, onions. Everybody has their way of cutting them that won't make you cry. I don't really have a system other than just cut it fast and hope for the best. Let me get all this out of here. And I generally, what do I generally tend to do? I cut it in half this way. And then I turn it this way. And I usually cut just kind of slices here. Ooh. Now, you'll have to remember that I am just a girl who likes to cook. I do not have any training. I mean, other than like growing up in my mom's kitchen. And so if you see something that you're like, she is not doing that right, that's all right. I'm okay with that. So I make them going this way. Now I'm going to make them coming this way, which is arguably the most dangerous part. But remember, the goal here is to not cry like a baby while I'm cutting these. And the truth is, I'm not a huge fan of onion. I love the flavor. I don't like biting into them. And so anytime I'm going to use them, I'm going to try to cut them up as much as I can. And so this is kind of helpful for that. So I'm now just going to take it and cut them along this way. Now the recipe does say like one whole onion, and that is just a lot of onion. But that gives a pretty good dice. And my eyeballs are already burning. Getting a bowl to put all of this in. So to me, that is more than enough onion. So that is all I'm gonna do. Oh my goodness, making a mess. And I will save the other half of the onion for another meal. So one of the things that this recipe calls for is roasted corn. And normally I would be like, forget it, that's too much work. I'm just gonna use like a can of corn or frozen corn. But that is one of the challenges with this, is that I want to make things based off the recipe. And so as much as is possible, I'm gonna go buy the recipe. And so if it's calling for roasted corn, we're gonna roast some corn. Now, the book does say, thankfully, because I don't really have like an outdoor barbecue to go stick them on really quick. So it does have a note that says to roast or grill the corn, that you can put them under the broiler in your oven. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to rub them with olive oil, sprinkle them with salt and pepper, and then put them under the broiler. So I'm going to turn the broiler on and then we'll get started. So first we are going to just peel all of this off. I'm going to do two. Actually, I'm just going to do all of them because I love corn. And whatever I don't put in, I will just eat. I think this is the way I was supposed to do it. Honestly, sometimes what I love about cooking is that it's generally pretty hard to mess up. So I'm not going to worry too much about it. We got some olive oil right here that we are going to just kind of drizzle on. I should probably be doing this like on the pan that I'm going to do it on, but here we are. So we're gonna rub those down. They're gonna run all over the place. We're going to sprinkle with some salt, just kind of all the way around, and with pepper. And then we are going to toss them on the pan like this, and then toss them under the broiler. So corn is currently in under the broiler. I just checked it, it's doing okay. And now we're gonna move on to chicken. Okay, so now we're moving on to the chicken. The recipe says that we want this cut into 1 to 2 inch pieces. So I just have plain, regular chicken breasts. I'm gonna cut like just like this kind of stuff off. Honestly, I hate touching meat, but it's part of the process. Yeah, so we're just gonna take these and we're gonna cut them into chunks. So I'm gonna go here and just cut them like this. And then I'll do, honestly, I'm just not the kind of person that cares too much about like the size of things, like the size of how big or small you're cutting them. I think there are certain times that is warranted, where like it might affect the cook on them. And you know, certainly the chicken is like that, but I'm like, as long as they're kind of bite size, I'm happy. So oftentimes, you know, the things we eat for dinner are the things that we're used to. And I think that's great. I love familiarity. I don't know how to say that word. I really do. But every once in a while I get stuck with like, we're gonna eat that again. And so this idea came from wanting to just try some new things. So here we are. Chicken is all cut. I'm gonna take a break to wash my hands real quick. Okay, recipe says season chicken with the cumin, paprika, salt, and black pepper and toss well. I'm gonna use some tongs to pick up the chicken so I don't have to wash my hands every single time. We're going in with our chicken and with the seasoning we threw together. I'm gonna sprinkle some on top, and then I'm gonna use my tongs to move that around a bit. And then I'm gonna sprinkle the rest of it. This seasoning smells very good. If you don't like cumin, like my mom isn't a huge fan of cumin, but if you don't like cumin, you can always put less. Again, I mean, I say that like I've made this before. I've never made this before, guys. Remember that. So maybe I'll tell you when we taste it, if you can modify the flavor of it. Okay, so we're gonna use a big old Dutch oven like this for our cooking of the actual meal. So in a large pot, heat the olive oil and butter over medium heat. Okay, so we got the butter, and I think it says 2 tablespoons. I'm just gonna kind of guess. I don't feel like measuring that. So the corn I've got right here, it's not super roasty, but it's a little roast. I think it'll do good. All right, so we're just going to melt that butter. We want it to get hot because I believe we're throwing, we're gonna cook the chicken first. Just like until it's browned. We're not cooking it all the way through. But I do want the pan to be pretty hot here. While we wait for that to heat up, I would love to hear from you guys. What are some of your favorite meals to cook for dinner? And what are some of your favorite cookbooks that you love to cook from? Part of me wonders if because of Pinterest and because of the wonderful online community, how many people actually like use cookbooks. But maybe that's just me. Maybe it's because mine have been in a garage for a year. But I'd love to hear from you. So comment down below. Let me know. What's your favorite cookbook? Who's it by? Tell me all the things so I know what to look up. So I completely forgot to hit record when I was adding the chicken to the pot. So the next clip you're going to see is the chicken already cooking in the pot. We're going to cook it just till it's brown. We're not cooking it all the way through. And then we're going to take it out of the pot and we'll go from there. Okay, so we are going to move this around. Again, we don't want it cooked all the way. We just want it browned for the most part. Okay, now I'm going to take it out. I'm going to turn this all the way down. Where's my tongs? It'll probably work a lot easier. We want to keep a lot of the juices and the oils, like that butter and stuff, in the pot because we are going to add our onions right after this. So one thing I forgot to do was to cut a bunch of, to cut a bunch of garlic, which is, you know, the best part of cooking. So we're gonna go in real quick and just chop up a bunch of garlic. I have a whole head here. Now the recipe does say 2 cloves. I don't know about you, but 2 cloves is not very much. So we're gonna go with whatever's here. We're gonna go with 4. And honestly, I could probably do a whole lot more than that. So cutting garlic for me is sorry, it's gonna be loud, smash, just to get all the peels off. A smash. Oh, that's like 2. All right, so we're going in. That's more than that. We're just going to go through and just chop them up a bunch. All right, that's good enough. I need to drain and rinse some beans. Recipe says 2 cans, 14 ounces each. These, I don't understand. I don't know that I have ever found a can of beans that was 14 ounces. This is 15 and a half. So we're going to go with 2 of them. That is more beans than the recipe technically calls for, but they're beans. They are not going to change the recipe. Like an extra amount is not going to change much. But rinsing them or not will. So we're just going to turn these on, rinse them. And let them drain. Okay, had to pause for a second to just kind of clean up. In the process, I also cut the corn off of the cobs. I'm really glad I didn't film that because it was a little bit of a mess. And I don't cut I don't cut corn off the cob very often. So, all right, we're gonna turn this back up to get hot. And then we are going to throw in the onion. As you can see, we still have all of the kind of spices and juices from the chicken in here, and that is what is going to kind of start up the rest of our chili. All right, so this is hot enough. We're gonna go ahead and toss in our onions. We're gonna let those cook away. They're gonna take on the flavor of all of those spices, which is really exciting. So now we are going to throw in, I've got right here, I didn't show the can, but this is fire roasted diced green chilies. We only need 4 ounces, so I just measured out because I have a really big can. But we are gonna throw that in with the onions. And then we're gonna throw all the garlic in. And then we're gonna let this cook for a couple of minutes. Smells delicious, by the way. So we are now going to add in, this says, ½ teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. I'm not gonna measure it, but that looks fine to me. We like spice, so actually I'm just gonna throw in an extra. We like some spiciness. If you don't like spice, I imagine you could leave that out. Again, I don't think there's a whole lot of rules with cooking. Use the recipe as a guideline. All right, so now we're going to add in our beans, which have been rinsed and been draining. We're gonna add in our corn. I'm gonna mix that all in first. And then we are gonna add in some chicken stock, which there are 4 cups. And this is, it's right here. Can't really see it. This is a bad way to do this. It's just 4 cups. So we're gonna this whole container is 32 ounces, so that's 4 cups. I'm gonna mix that in, and then we're gonna throw our chicken back in. Okay, so now we are going to stir it well. We're gonna bring it to a boil, so I'm gonna turn it up a little. Once it starts boiling, we're gonna reduce the heat and then cover it and let it cook for 20 minutes. So I will come back and show you when it's boiling, and we'll go from there. Okay, we are in the boiling stage. I am going to taste this. It does not say to add any extra salt or pepper or anything, but I am a flavor as you go and taste as you go to make sure. Yeah. So our chicken stock had no salt in it. It was low sodium and it tastes like that. So we are going to go ahead and add some salt. I'm going to add some pepper. Again, this just feels like regular cooking to me, where I'm always going to taste my stuff and see if it needs anything. We're going to go back in, taste it again. Honestly, I don't want to oversalt it, but I'm going to add more. You could, because the only salt in this was on the chicken, you could use regular chicken stock and don't go with the low sodium one. I just really like to be able to control that kind of thing. That's better. Okay, so now we are going to turn it down so that it is simmering. We are going to cover it and we're going to let that do its thing for 20 minutes. So I'll see you again in 20. So the next thing that we are doing is we're going to add some Monterey Jack cheese. This is going to, I believe, help it thicken it up a bit. And we're also going to add some sour cream to give it a creamier taste. So instead of getting out our big, we have like one of those rotary grinders. I don't want to do that. We're going to just go with this little one and we're just going to grind it out. So I do have this thing that is just the best thing in the world that has ever been created. The recipe calls for 8 ounces, which is the whole block that I have. So I'm just going to cut it into smaller chunks. This is a wider grind than I was originally doing. Let me move this way so you can see it a bit better. So that is 8 ounces of cheese. And we also need 1/3 cup of sour cream. Whew. One thing I will say is that making dinner when you're trying to film a video it takes much longer. I don't exactly remember what time we started this, but it is 7 o'clock now. We are going to eat dinner. And then I'm actually going over to my mom's house because we have been trying to perfect the art of making flour tortillas. So that's very exciting. We keep trying slightly different versions and just seeing what we like the best. So I'm excited for that. We've got our chili that has been just bubbling away. So we are now going to add in the Monterey Jack. It does say to do it in small handfuls. I assume so it doesn't just like get all clumpy. Okay, I'm going to turn this off now. It definitely did get a little wider with the cheese, and it will probably do even more when we add in sour cream, which I'm going to do just a tiny bit at a time. I say tiny and did half of it, so. And we'll do the rest of it. Might as well get it all out of there. And I do believe that is everything. So it does say you can serve it with tortilla strips, cilantro, jalapeno peppers, and queso fresco. I have some jalapenos and some cilantro. I did not get any queso fresco, mostly because I love queso fresco, so don't get me wrong, it would get eaten. But I don't really have any plans for a whole lot of it, and it generally tends to go bad pretty quickly. So I didn't want to buy a whole thing and then have it go bad and have to throw it away. But this is our white chicken chili. Excuse the lines that are going across because of the light above me, but this is, honestly, it doesn't look that great, does it? We're going to plate it up and I'll show you the recipe. Okay, so the verdict is in. We are currently eating, and pretty delicious. It's got a little kick to it. It's got a lot of flavor in it. It's really easy to make if you're not filming. So 10 out of 10, I'd say. Would make again. That's going to be the little catchphrase. 10 out of 10 would make again. We definitely want to add this to our regular rotation of foods. So I hope this was fun for you. Let me know what cookbooks are your favorite, and stay tuned for the next one.